It's model release day. Let's go.
Today is the release of Spud, GPT-5.5 from OpenAI. We've been testing it internally for about 3 weeks. It's a sick model. We've tested it on everything from coding to writing to knowledge work tasks. And it's actually like a real step change in a lot of abilities. The big headline for me, though, is its coding ability. On our senior engineer benchmark, it scored a 62.5 out of 100. And by comparison, human senior engineers score consistently about 80 or 90 out of 100 on this benchmark. It's not in the senior human engineer range yet, but it's getting up there. Opus 4.7, by comparison, scored in the low 30s pretty consistently. So there's a 30-point gap between the work that GPT 5.5 does and the work that Opus 4.7 does. But there's a catch. The best performance that we got out of GPT 5.5 came when we ran it on our senior engineer benchmark using a plan written by Opus 4.7. Write a plan with Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5 is an absolute beast. We're going to go into a ton of detail on all the tests we ran and what we found, what this new model is useful for, what its drawbacks are. You can get it into your work and into your life today. I love model release days because those are the days where we publish our vibe checks. This is a video version of the vibe check, but if you go to the link down below, you're going to see our written version. It's a couple thousand words with all of our detailed thoughts on exactly what we did with this model, what we thought, released on the day of. We write new things every day to keep you at the edge of AI. We also build things ourselves as part of the Every subscription. We have a fleet of 6 apps that we've built with Codex and Claude Code with these models to help us in our work. Things like Cora, which is an agent for your email, or Sparkle, which is an agentic file organizer, or Monologue, which is a smart dictation app. All these are things we build ourselves and release to our audience as part of our subscription. We also do a lot of training. So we run camps and courses to teach you everything you need to know to code, to write, to do design with AI. And we even do this for big companies and executive leadership teams. So if this is interesting to you, you should go to every.to and subscribe. Okay, so let's get into the vibe check. I've got 4 main categories for you. We've got coding, we've got writing, we've got knowledge work, and we've got OpenClaw. How does GPT 5.5 stack up versus 5.4 and versus Opus 4.7 and other models? We're going to go into that in detail. So let's start with coding. The headline is the senior engineer benchmark. As I said, GPT 5.5 scores about 30 points higher than Opus 4.7 on the senior engineer benchmark, but it only does that when it is used with a plan written by Opus 4.7. I think this tells us a lot about the psychology of this model, what it's good at, what it's not good at, and when to use it in your workflow. To understand this a little more, I want to talk to you about what this senior engineer benchmark is, the SE bench. It's a benchmark I invented, and the benchmark basically gives the model a vibe-coded slop code base. It's a real code base from an app that I built called Proof, and it says to the model, hey, like this is vibe-coded slop. How would you rewrite this from first principles? Basically, is it able to rewrite the code base, do it in a clean first principle way where there's conceptual clarity and it looks like a senior engineer did it. And the gold standard for this benchmark is actual code written by senior engineers. I had 2 different engineers do their own rewrites of this code base. So we get to compare what these models do versus real human engineers. And first of all, this benchmark is not saturated. There's still a lot of room on the frontier. The best human engineers get around 80 to 90 points on this benchmark out of 100. The best score we've ever seen is GPT 5.5. It got about a 62.5 using a Claude Opus 4.7 plan, and it got in the low to mid 40s without, which is still much better than Opus 4.7, which got about a 33.
If you do some prompting, you can get 5.5 to make its own plan good enough that its performance on this benchmark starts to approach its performance when it uses an Opus 4.7 plan. But it still only gets to like the low to mid 50s. So for my money, Opus 4.7 is just a better planner than 5.5.
What this model can do that other models don't seem to be able to is it's able to identify the underlying core principles or invariants that need to be true in the code base, in the plan that it writes. And then when it starts writing code against that plan, it doesn't get as distracted by the existing code base. It doesn't go into patch mode and start like patching little holes. It has the assertiveness, the boldness, the agency to actually go and delete a bunch of files and really start from scratch and then carry through the idea it has from start to finish over several hours. It's not perfect yet. It's far from perfect. Like I said, it's still about 30 points away from senior engineers on this benchmark, but it is a step change in terms of how good it is versus other models. What happens with Opus 4.7 is
Opus 4.7 actually produces a really good plan. It's very good at writing something that's conceptually clear and clean, something that feels contract driven and gives the model a sense for, if this rewrite is good enough, this big file will only be 100 lines. That kind of thing, that level of detail. That's what drives GPT 5.5's performance. That's what makes it so good, is if you give it a plan like that, it just actually does it. It has the confidence to do it. But Opus, if you give it its own plan, it's really beautiful, well-written plan. It says, oh, this is like too much effort. Like, I'm just going to pick off a small little slice. And then it just starts to patch around the issue rather than actually do the rewrite as asked for.
GPT 5.4, the old OpenAI model that's being replaced today, does the same thing. It does it better than Opus 4.7, but it still does the same thing. But GPT 5.5 on extra high reasoning just has that little bit of extra oomph that allows it to actually go in and execute. Okay, well, what is it about the Opus 4.7 plan that makes GPT 5.5 better? And I think that's really interesting because it says something about what makes a good use of 5.5. If you look at the plan that Opus 4.7 wrote for this benchmark versus the plan that GPT 5.5 wrote, it has all the right concepts, but it's pretty long and it doesn't have a lot of the really specific programmery contract style. Okay, here's what good looks like. Here's what you should delete. Here's how many files should be left, all that kind of stuff. It's really actually just really written well for humans. And I think they've done a lot of tuning on 5.5 to make it good for humans. And if you look at 4.7, part of the reason people don't like it is because it's kind of terse and it feels a little bit more robotic than you're used to with Anthropic models. But it turns out that terseness, that exactness, that contract style plan is really good for 5.5. So if you want to get the most out of 5.5, using Opus 4.7 as the planner, or making sure you prompt 5.5 with a lot of exact detail, is going to be the thing that draws out this boldness, this agency, this ability to carry a big plan through from start to finish. It's really impressive. Naveen, who's the GM at Every, who runs Monologue, tested it on building a to-do app called Dayline. And he was really impressed by how it was able to build a native iOS and Mac app that was beautiful, works really well, and it can just sort of churn through a bunch of features in a plan until it's done. It's really, really good at that, especially if the plan is well specified. Naveen also used it to build a release of Monologue, the app that he runs. And he used about 900 million tokens with GPT 5.5 in pre-release as part of his testing. He thinks it's his favorite model for everything. He said he was only able to hit the deadline that he needed to in order to get a new feature out for Monologue by using this model. It means an incredible senior engineer, and if he likes this model, it's worth paying attention to. There are some things that it's not as good at.
Kieran Klassen, the general manager at Cora, which is our AI email agent at Every, tested the model on his LFG bench, which essentially replicates his real development process to see how a model does on more product forward engineering tasks where you're not necessarily refactoring the whole code base, but you're building a feature and something that includes a lot of front end and design and product thinking. And he found that for these types of tasks in the LFG bench, 5.5 did pretty well, but Opus 4.7 had a higher ceiling, especially on design forward tasks. It just has a better aesthetic sense than 5.5.
And Mike Taylor, who runs technology consulting at Every, had a similar feeling about it in his benchmarks, where getting into vibe code, relatively complex app from scratch with a underspecified plan, it just didn't do as well as Opus 4.7, which is ripped through the entire task. So whether you're vibe coding or you're trying to do some senior engineer type stuff, a better specified plan is going to be the way to get the most out of this model. One other thing that we noticed is that GPT-5.5 is really good at writing TypeScript and writing Swift. But Kieran, who is a huge Ruby stan, thinks it doesn't write good Ruby. So if you're doing a Rails project, you may not be happy with the quality of the Ruby that gets written. But if you're in TypeScript or you're in Swift, you're going to be pretty happy. Okay, now on to writing. It's got a little bit less personality than Opus, especially the older Opus models like 4.6, but it's actually really good for doing business writing. So I used it to write our investor update, and it basically one-shotted an update that was like close to being ready to send. Katie Parrott, who's a staff writer at Every, has been using Claude models for probably a year or two now, almost exclusively for writing. This is the first GPT model in a long time that she has started to use for writing tasks over Opus or Sonnet. In particular, Katie and Mike both really liked it for its voice replication. It was pretty good at mimicking a style without overdoing it. It's a little bit more restrained, which I think is why it's good at business writing. And that makes it a little bit more subtle as a writer. Okay, now on to knowledge work. This is one of those things that OpenAI was so behind on even 3 months ago or 6 months ago. And they have just rapidly iterated to the point where the Codex desktop app is great for any kind of knowledge work. And using it with GPT 5.5 is best in class agent experience you can have on your desktop. For one, it's really fast. It's really powerful. It can use any of the apps on your computer. It's good at browsing the web. It's good at doing things like writing dashboards or doing complex data analysis. And again, it's really fast. In all of these tests, I haven't talked about this that much, but in all of these tests, we were pretty shocked at how slow Opus 4.7 feels in comparison. You can really tell the hardware advantage that OpenAI is working with right now. You can feel it. One thing about this model that I kind of ding it for versus Opus is some of the training that's being done to make it feel digestible has come at the cost of some of its eye for detail and knowledge work. If you're using this model for tasks that require like really sharp insights, I would definitely consider using Opus 4.7 over 5.5 for that. For example, even the senior engineer benchmark, like grading the model trajectories, I just trusted 4.7 more than I trusted 5.5, even if I basically want to use 5.5 more as my daily driver. It's a great daily driver model. So that's basically the gist of 5.5. I feel like it's Christmas every couple weeks around here because we keep getting access to new stuff and it keeps being fucking awesome. And I feel like my powers and everybody else on the team, like all of our powers are just increasing day by day. You should definitely give this model a try. It's the most usable way right now to get the power of a frontier model in a user-friendly, human-friendly, collaborative package. And that's a big achievement. Until recently, like I pretty much used Claude for everything. Over the last couple months, I've really switched my usage where I use Claude a decent amount on mobile. I like the mobile app, but for anything on my computer, anything agentic, I'm pretty much in Codex for everything. And I got to say, I like it in OpenClaw. If you're an Opus stan, the harness is really still built to work better in Opus, but they're releasing stuff every day that makes it pretty good in OpenClaw. And it's been one of those stable experiences for me over the last couple of weeks where it's not forgetting stuff as much. It's not doing dumb stuff as much. It still does it a little bit, but because it's free under my ChatGPT subscription, I'm okay with a little bit of the trade-off in power. And I think that they'll fix that hopefully soon. So if you didn't like 5.4 in OpenClaw, I recommend giving it a shot in 5.5. So that's it, folks. That's our report from the frontier. If you liked this, you should like and subscribe. But more importantly, you should go to every.to. We have a couple thousand words on this model with everything that we tested and everything that we found. We also have a suite of apps for subscribers, stuff that we build ourselves that help you work better with AI, stuff that helps you write your emails, that helps you organize your files, that helps you write better. We've got a ton of good stuff in the Every subscription. If you try this model, we'd love to know what you think. So please leave a comment. And remember, stay hydrated. See you next time.
On the moon!